Direct impingement versus gas piston. It's one of those debates that's been going on forever in the gun world. Some people swear DI is king, others say piston is the future, and some of you just did the big brain move and just skipped the discussion to go straight to the comment section for some entertainment. Today we're breaking hearts, changing minds, potentially escalating global conflicts, and deciding which is truly better, DI or piston. Give it to me. Before we dive in and before you guys start going off in the comments, yes, I know there's some debate about whether a so-called direct impingement rifle like this one here is technically a true DI or more of an internal piston setup. Before we go any further, let's make sure we have our definition straight. In a gas piston system, the gas from the barrel is siphoned off to move a piston, which then interacts with the bolt carrier group. In a direct impingement rifle, gas from the barrel moves down a tube and interacts directly with the bolt carrier group. So even though the bolt and the carrier in a direct impingement rifle acts as a piston, does not mean it is a piston system because the gas directly impacts the bolt carrier group. So if you're one of those people that are saying a traditional AR-15 is a piston system, you're wrong. Between you and me, I think Stoner intentionally cheated and put a gas piston system inside the BCG in order to just confuse everyone. Do you want to get better at shooting all from the comfort of your home? Well, lately I've been using the ACE virtual shooting system to improve my shooting and specifically my target acquisition and transitions. Now, if you've seen my competition shooting series, then you know just how fast I'm improving. Now, while it's true that I do shoot probably around 1,000 rounds a month, I am constantly training on ACE. Not only is it a great way to train, you can also connect with other shooters and go multiplayer in the game. You can host a live range session all from the comfort of your home. So train harder, train smarter, and check out ACE. I've got a code, it's GunnyGal, and that'll save you some money, and we'll see you on the virtual range. Okay, so let's start at the beginning and explain the fundamental differences. First, when you pull the trigger, the firing pin hits the primer on the back of the cartridge, which causes the powder inside the cartridge to ignite. When the powder ignites, this causes gas pressure, which sends the projectile forward down the barrel. In semi-automatic rifles, this gas pressure is also what makes the gun cycle and how the next round gets loaded into the chamber. With a direct impingement or DI rifle, as the bullet passes a hole called the gas port, some of that high pressure gas is siphoned off into a gas block, which is then rolled back through the gas tube that runs above the barrel. This gas shoots directly into the back of the bolt carrier group, which forces it backwards. This backward motion unlocks the bolt, ejects the spent casing, and then the buffer spring pushes everything forward again to chamber a new round. With a piston system, the start of the process is the same. The bullet passes the gas port, gas enters the gas block, but then instead of going down a skinny tube into your action, the gas pushes on a little metal piece called a piston right there in the front of the rifle. This piston moves a short distance and physically shoves an operating rod back into the bolt carrier group. In the piston system, most of the gas is dumped in the front of the rifle near the gas block instead of being vented inside your receiver. And in a DI rifle, gas travels all the way back to push the bolt directly. Now, you do have short stroke versus long stroke piston systems. The simplest way to describe the difference in those is that in a long stroke piston system like the AK-47 M1 Garand or this PWS, I don't know where it is, or this PWS right behind me, for example, the piston is attached to the bolt carrier group and moves with it. In a short stroke system, the piston is separate and does not travel with it. Examples of short stroke would be FN SCAR, SIG MCX, or what I have over here, the VK, TR, VK1, and the MR556A4. So knowing all of this now, why does this matter? The biggest difference I have personally found is the amount of gas you get to the face. I would end range days with my DI gun with speckles of gas on my face. However, since running piston guns, I don't need to wipe my face down in the middle of my training. This is also exaggerated by running your rifle suppressed. Also, huge shout out to Silencer Shop for making owning NFA items simple. But in a piston system, by not having as much gas coming through the action, the gun is a lot cleaner and doesn't need to be cleaned as often. DI guns are notorious for getting a bunch of carbon buildup on and around the bolt carrier group. Also, this gas is hot, of course, so you have less heat in the back of the receiver where all the main moving parts are, which can cause the piston guns to run more reliably. However, the drawback to this is that you actually have more gas and heat escaping at the front of the barrel, like I mentioned, which means the area tends to get hot pretty quickly. Now, it does depend on your gun, but you can typically feel that heat because your hand is typically holding the rifle in that area. Piston guns also tend to be heavier in general, but for me, it's not really too much of a difference that I really think about or that it affects my purchasing decision. Piston guns are also generally pricier. This is because they are a more complex system and are more expensive to manufacture. Now, something to note, piston guns do have more moving parts to them, so that does increase the chance of failure. However, how does that really translate to the real world? Not so much when we're talking about well-made quality piston guns. The HK416, a short stroke piston system, has been noted as one of the most reliable AR-15s out there, and it's preferred by special forces across the world. Now, if you cheap out on a piston system, then you do increase the chance of premature wear and tear. However, that does apply to direct impingement as well. Now, considering all of that, is there one that is more superior? Not necessarily. However, when running suppressed, I do think the piston guns shine pretty bright in that area and have quickly started to become my favorite for that purpose. Overall, I do understand that DI guns, if tuned properly, can really probably outshine piston guns, but that does require much time and also money to get that. So no, I don't think you could go wrong with either, especially since they are both proven and reliable systems at this point. But hopefully you learned something from this video. Let me know in the comments down below on if you have shot a gas piston system or if you have a preference of DI versus piston. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Sorry.
Give it to me.